Hi, my name is Angela Walters with quiltingismytherapy.com, and this is a tutorial for the swirl hook machine quilting design. Now, when I wrote my first book, Free Motion Quilting with Angela Walters, I actually included this as one of the variations in the swirl chapter. But I quickly realized that a lot of people were having trouble with that extra little step. So I thought it would be fun to put together a video tutorial and really talk through it so that anybody wanting to quilt that swirl hook could do it as easily as possible. Now, what I love about this design is it fits really well into those triangle-shaped blocks. So if you're using this in something that has a lot of points or a lot of corners, or even if you just want to add a fun texture to your quilt, this is going to be the design for you. So, no more talking, let's get to the design. Once you see how the swirl hook goes together, you realize that it's not quite that hard. It basically consists of three parts. First, you're going to start by quilting the inside of the swirl, stopping when you get into the center, about there. Then you're going to quilt a nice S shape that comes out to a point, not too far, just as far as you'd like it to go. And then you're going to return, but you don't want to run into the swirl. You're going to stop just short of the swirl, about 1/4 inch. Then you're going to echo back along the swirl. So basically you're starting the swirl, coming out to a point, coming back, and then finishing that swirl. Now to quilt this in a meander, you're just going to continue quilting that shape, working your way around the area. Now don't worry about how big you're making the swirls. You just want to echo around and try to keep your spacing as consistent as possible. And when you're putting those hooks out, you don't have to worry about making them go too far or even too close. You'll find your own kind of flair with that. Going out to a point and then back. And as you can see, I'm trying to keep everything kind of close together so I don't have any huge gaps. Again, but don't stress out about that. And then coming back. The great thing about this design is that you can use that hook to really kind of wrap around and fit in those areas that you need to fill in. And continue working that way. Now don't forget to echo if you need to move to a different part of the quilt, and work your way around that way. Now this is one of those designs, the more you practice, the easier that it's going to get. So if you're kind of having some trouble with it, just put a piece of fabric down and keep practicing it. Now if you want, you can continue quilting the swirls like this and coming back. Or if you want a little bit of an extracurricular activity, you could turn it into a double hook swirl where you go out and back and then out again and then back. So it's a little bit more advanced, but it's nice for any of those points that you need to fill in that way. So maybe once you get the regular swirl hook down, you can try the double swirl hook and continue along that way. Now if you get confused, you're not sure what to do, just go ahead and throw in some regular swirls until you can figure out how to get back on the right track. Whatever you do, don't stress too much about it. And we'll put one more in right here. A great thing about this design too is that you can change the scale of it as well. So if you want to quilt it smaller, like I'm doing right here, and really fill in those smaller areas, you can, and really have fun with that. So once you master the bigger design, you can shrink it down and really kind of fill in those spaces. But no matter what you do with it, I think that once you master that swirl hook, you'll realize just how much fun it is. So thanks so much for joining me today on the swirl hook tutorial. If you have any questions or you want to share pictures of what you're quilting, please visit me on quiltingismytherapy.com. Thanks and happy quilting!